Hey,
Hello.
hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Is that you? It seems
Yeah,
like it.
it's
Now,
Will,
is it Will or William?
William. Or
William.
Will is shorter. I don't want to make people use syllables.
Hey, it's whatever you want, man. My name's Tim. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. A super fascinating post that got my eye. The commit reveal pairwise comparisons.
I saw that and I saw your feedback and I was like, yeah, this guy, he gets it.
Well, yeah, I don't even know where to start. It's like I only care about big innovations. I mean, small innovations I can busy myself with, but
Mhm.
like the big ones are where I actually start to s- I'll pivot in life and just do something completely different because of it. And that's what I saw in it. I saw that you were building something that would probably make like every Web3 application reconsider how they were doing things. And I just wanted to learn more about it from the person who was designing it.
I love it. I love it. Um, man, there's just like you said, there's too much we could like go into and a lot of tangents we can explore, but like I think the heart of it is we have an idea, and it's not just me, it's also my team, like, and it's also the people who have like kind of stuck with me through the weird phase of this. And
Mm.
it's essentially how would you make a network, like a blockchain network that lives forever? And how would you make it handle any kind of workload, right? Not just the stuff you can formally prove with ZK math. And that's where this came from. It came from trying to solve a problem I first figured out back when I was working on massively multiplayer online games in the early 2000s, right? It was like, hey, we can't scale the AI compute. It doesn't really matter because you're trying to like keep the state uh like whole across fractions of a second and it just doesn't work, right? There's only so many things you can do in a fraction of a second. And most of that stack was spent doing stupid, dumb AI work that was like make the NPC walk from point A to point B. So, you know, just thinking about it for a long time and then coming into the world of the modern age of AI and the requirements thereof, where like companies are like building giant zero knowledge circuits to prove like billion parameter models. I'm like, okay, guys, come on. We could just we could just make a consensus mechanism out of nodes doing similar work. It's like this is space shuttle stuff, you know? It's like space shuttle error correction. You got 5 or 6 computers on there, and if they all agree everything's good, but if there's a dispute, you got to reconsider the calculation. So that's kind of where this whole thing came from, man.
Mm. And where is it going now?
So we started out, and I remember doing like, okay, so just so you understand, like this started out as me explaining how I wanted to build like a fully decentralized AI-based Web3 game to a friend of mine, David Amore at Playment. And I was describing how it did it, and I described the network we'd have to build to make it happen. And he's like, well, okay, the game's cool, but that network, that could change everything. I need to introduce you to my friends at A16Z. So A16Z took the pitch and they're like, that's weird enough to work. So let's just put you in the crypto startup accelerator and give you access to the research team. And between that 10 weeks and now, like you've seen, we've kind of formalized the actual protocol, but it has two key gaps, right? There are two things that don't work in it um, to turn it into like a decentralized network. And the first one is that it does dispute identification, but it doesn't do resolution, right? There's no mechanism, there's no consensus mechanism on top of it to actually handle how, like, decide how the nodes come to a consensus based on faulty data. That's the next phase. That's what we were designing with the research team.
Okay.
And then the next thing is that in the case where everyone is honestly wrong, like say 3 large language models all go over the same result, they all share the same systemic bias, so they all cause the same problem.
Right.
Well, it doesn't matter how you measure their differences, they're all still wrong, right? So that does imply an actual network built on top of this, not just a consensus mechanism, a network to have incentivized watchdogs that solve for that one case. So if you
Right.
think about like the stack, it's there's a consensus mechanism design that we're doing right now, and we call it Byzantine risk tolerance. And then that becomes the foundation of the network Inori, which handles the incentivization, the staking, and everything else involved in making shardable like workloads for AI. I really do see this as a network. Like, I don't know, the words may sound strange, but it's kind of like almost a post-human currency. It's like it's not just money, it's attention, it's work, it's like consensus itself becomes capital. That's the idea here.
Of course, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I think the lightning in the bottle capture attempt for crypto was to sort of digitize work and energy and
Hmm.
make it exchangeable across the internet and make that Sybil resistant.
Yep.
But so are you
Oh, I
saying,
love that. Yeah.
yeah, but are you saying like on the network you need a human in the loop for the network on top?
No, ultimately it could be other AIs, right?
Okay.
It doesn't have to be humans. It just needs to be, and this is a kind of a fun thought in mathematics, right? You know how like you can't formally prove, I don't know. Have you ever heard of a Gödel sentence? It's a really fun.
No,
It's a
go.
really fun sentence. It's essentially this sentence is unprovable, right? It's the equivalent of like this sentence is a lie, and the
Yeah,
idea is you can't build a formal logic system to prove or disprove that sentence. By its nature, it is like recursively impossible.
right,
And as a human, you and I can examine that at a meta level and say, "Oh, yeah, I see what happened there. Yeah, just ignore, right? Just don't
right,
worry about it."
right.
So this network enables that meta kind of review while also like letting AI do what AI does best, right? So I do see it as like it can do more than AI. It could shard workloads that are based on like real world data that doesn't have like clear cut answers. And I loved what your how you put it. Look, the world's not black and white, not the real world. Like Ethereum, extremely black and white right now, right? Bitcoin does exactly one thing really well. So I'm like, how do we handle the rest of the problem space? That's what this is for.
Yeah, that's incredible because like this is what happened is they did one good thing. They solved the double spend problem, but after
Exactly.
that they said, okay, let's do DAOs, let's do decentralized
Hmm.
autonomous organizations, and then they couldn't organize around them because
Hmm.
of human folly and the consensus errors. And that's where I see this coming in is like being able to like uh, piece out the gray areas in decision making and
Yes.
results.
Yeah, I think the idea is this is how we can still have DAOs live on Ethereum, for instance, but the actual consensus decisions can live on Inori. And suddenly you have DAOs that think and can make autonomous, like actually be autonomous.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
that's the idea here.
Yeah, it's like actually being autonomous because yeah, it seems like an actual breakthrough in like blockchain and AI put together. It
Hmm.
seems like this is like the linchpin that like could actually merge the two.
Yes. Man, I should just hire you to do my pitch deck for me. Jesus. See,
Well,
what's
I am.
honestly what's so valuable about a conversation like this is that the framing
Yeah.
from people who are not like in the grind every day on it, right? The framing and like the grokking of it is something incredibly valuable to me. Just like talking about it with you like this is just like the best use of my morning right now.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Um, I'm actually like I'm not a specialist in anything. Like I'm just a generalist, and I think someone has to be around who can like put the pieces together. Because if
Hmm.
they're not there, then no one's gonna like buy the idea.
Right.
If you can't
True.
connect what other people are thinking to what you're thinking, then you're on an island alone. So I try to that's what I dedicated my life to. Just
Nice.
helping people figure out each other's ideas.
Yeah.
But
Well, I feel like you're already helping me. I like and again, like there's so much to explore with this, right? Because there's the AI case is like the most obvious. Like I really here's the like long-term horizon, right? This is a network where when we unleash an AI agent, it's an ephemeral construct, right? Where it might be a collection of AWS containers running Python scripts hooked up to some like OpenAI calls, hooked up to its own wallet so it can pay for services. But the thing is, it makes it an unkillable, like eternal, like ephemeral construct. It'll work as long as it has money in the bank, right? And if that's decentralized, we are creating a layer for like a new, like seriously, this is Star Trek, new life, right? This is a new digital, we are making new digital life forms. They may be primitive,
Yeah.
but they will be able to like, we'll be able to invest in them. We'll be able to say, you know what, that one is doing something really interesting. It's like Terminal of Truths on crack, right?
Yeah.
Terminal of Truths is like so cool to me because I'm a big fan of Craig Allison's Expeditionary Force sci-fi novels, and they have a little AI character in that called Skippy. And Skippy is the Skippy shards himself into different personalities and leaves some copies on Earth, and one of them becomes a shaman figure and like creates a cult and just gets all the humans to sign up. And it's like the name of it is Skippy Is Your Money, and it's a joke on Skippy Has Your Money. And I loved it so much, and I was like Terminal of Truths can show us that, right? And yet, Terminal of Truths is like there's a guy interjecting once in a while in between the LLM generations, and you can tell one of his famous things just came out recently where he accidentally misspelled one of his things, and people are like, "Oh, caught the human," and I'm like, but with CRPC, even CRPC as it is right now, we could decentralize fully decentralized terminal of truths. We can do that today. And I think that's one of the first things we're going to do, like, I don't know, later this week. I'm talking with the virtuals protocols guys to put a cute anime person on top of it and turn that into an agent because I think it deserves to
Yeah.
exist on Twitter, you know?
Yeah. I
But we
mean,
can do it.
this is what's so fascinating is you're working on something that exists beyond crypto
Hmm.
as people understand it. It doesn't depend on Bitcoin to be successful. And
No.
most things in crypto do. Most things are just like I'm gonna be honest, most things are doing money
Yeah.
grab in crypto.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Um,
it's true.
and this is like a true innovation because
Yeah.
like Chainlink, for example, like they came in and tried to like be the oracles and they just like
Hmm.
planted themselves in as the middleman,
Yep.
which kind of just made the old problem the new problem again.
Right.
So
And I have nothing against that team. I actually like the Chainlink guys. I know those guys. It's just, why do we need a middleman that's managed by humans, right? Why do we
yeah,
need another trust layer between us
no,
and an already
I
trust-heavy system of oracles?
yeah,
Ugh.
look, like Sergey and Ari Jules were like they inspired me. I'm a young guy. I
Yeah.
was growing up on their like talks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I came to the conclusion that like this that I reached an impasse with them about with the futility of like Chainlink's endeavors ultimately.
Hmm.
So this is really like groundbreaking to me, just period. And
What I love about it is that I agree with you. And it's funny, it's weird for me to also I do try to approach it from the, well, I don't know if it's fully proven out yet, but the system should work is been the pitch so far. It
yeah,
is groundbreaking in the sense that is a complete it's a shift. It does allow decentralized networks that are not blockchains, for instance. It does allow you to secure decentralized work without a chain in the first place. Gets very Molly White on us and it's like, why do you need a blockchain? But
yeah,
it works, it'll work really well as a chain configuration. That's what's so crazy about it. And it allows sharding. It's just like naturally, and that's something I care about very deeply. And I'm friends with like Dan Hughes at Radix, and I'm like, dude, that guy's like been working on transaction sharding forever, and he's got like some really cool stuff. But I'm like, I just want to do, I want to do anything. I want to be able to handle the shades of gray, right? Yeah.
yeah. So let's take a step back. Like, how did you get to this point of like coming up with this idea? Where did it come from?
Uh, the truth is, it came from Ultima Online, right? Um,
Yeah, you mentioned that.
yeah. So a long time ago, when I started in the game industry, I was a bright young programmer dropping out of college to work at Electronic Arts. And I had loved the Ultima Online game for a long time. And I'll explain this pretty straightforwardly. In 1996, the web was very young, right? So any kind of game that was online was just blew our minds and we wanted in. Um, there was one, and I loved it so much, called Subspace, where it was made by Virgin Interactive when they were a thing, and it allowed you to like massively multiplay little 2D spaceships against each other and shoot each other from across a map, and it was super cool. And so this one game series that I loved, Ultima, they posted a thing and said, "We're going to make an online version of this where you can interact in this beautiful game property that you all love." And there's, like hundreds of thousands of fans at this point. And we're like, "Oh my gosh." And they said, "Here's some pre-alpha like designs. Here's what we're gonna have. We're gonna have animals, we're gonna have monsters, we're gonna have like it's gonna be like Dungeons and Dragons, but you're gonna be able to play with thousands of people." And that, that blew our minds, right? And I remember as a 17-year-old figuring out how to buy a money order and sending Electronic Arts a $5 money order, and they sent me back a CD so that I could beta test their game for them. And that game blew my mind. But the problem is, it was way more shallow than we were expecting. We were expecting like the NPCs to constantly be alive, doing their daily life loops, like Westworld, right? That's what we were promised. And they never quite got to that. They had to turn off, I'd say 99% of it,
Yeah,
because the CPU handling the state of a given area could only do so much, right?
of
That's what I was talking about earlier.
course.
And honestly, like when I joined the team later, I found out why. It was because a very small percentage of that CPU time was spent with dealing with players. The players just sent a packet and said, "I'm moving here." Did a collision check. No problem. The AIs, it's like, "Oh, I've got to do an A-star pathfinding algorithm. I got to see if this NPC can walk over here. I got to do this. I got to do that." So if there was not a player nearby, they turned off the AI. So if a tree fell in the woods, the tree never fell, right? It was a non is a category error kind of question.
Mhm.
And that meant that the simulation for this world that we were promised never quite lived up to what uh all of our game design friends promised. And that bothered me. And I actually did test it. I turned it back on after I joined the team, and the lag went from like a quarter second to 4 seconds. Don't get me wrong. There are architectures now that companies are working on to fix that, right? To fix that kind of issue with many players in the same
Yeah,
place and like all these events. There's a company called Improbable doing it as an engine, and they use relativity. They just like note when things are near each other. It's not like one world. Ralph Koster's new game, Stars Reach, is handling that massively for like the terrain. It's truly an amazing game architecture. And I was like, okay, cool. If that's done for like physics, can we please have it for AI? And the answer was, "Oh, sorry, no. Still can't do it for AI, right? We can do it for the dumb AI, like A-star pathfinding and stuff. But like, if I wanted to, like, if I wanted to massively scale the number of independent agents in a game, if I wanted to build a game with 10,000 or 100,000 large language model based agents running constantly, right? And I do. I want to build that. There is no such protocol. That's why I made CRPC, right? So
mhm.
that we could figure out a way to not just shard the workloads, but also handle the consensus of varying results. That's what it's for. That's why I was excited about it. So long story, but like that was the original impetus. It was, oh yeah, 20-year unsolved game design problem.
No, that's a good story. You're a gamer,
Yeah.
and it kind of came around full circle because
Oh, it
like
really did.
crypto brought gamification into the
Yeah.
real world, and then
Yep.
here you are like tying a bow on top to make it like
That's
nice again.
well, it's funny because like my first job at EA was writing AI for like writing AI, right? Like that was what we did. We made AI in game engineering, and I was like, how do we get your it was a total tying situation. And then of course I got very involved in early Bitcoin and then early Ethereum, and I was just
Mhm.
like, there has to be a way to do this. Decentralization has promised us that we should be able to use it to scale, not necessarily that like a blockchain itself scales, but we should be able to use it to scale other things. That's what that's
Right.
what caused this whole combination of AI, like sharding
Because
and
you would think
consensus.
decentralization would help scale something, but in our cases, we've been like Vitalik has hit us with this trilemma situation.
Mhm.
it gets difficult to scale the larger it is.
Hmm. That's normal. The nice thing about CRPC is it does allow you to linearly scale your network according to the nodes. That's what's nice about it. It's if you decide that you need 3 or 4 nodes for consensus for a given problem, okay, just take the total number of nodes and divide by 4. If you want to do it as a purely distributed, like I'm sorry, a fully decentralized like workload assignment system where it's just like randomly assigning it to nodes, I've got a calculator for you. I can send you some Python scripts and it'll tell you how large the network can be, how many things will stack in a queue before it evenly distributes. And for instance, with 1,000 nodes using 3 each, you can do it creates a before everything is evenly distributed across the entire network randomly. It's about six workloads deep per node. And they execute, of course, in like whatever the time frame may be per load. And it means it's really fast and it works. And I'm like, oh, well, now we have to like you asked me earlier about what the next steps are, and I'll just say this. We're in the consensus mechanism design phase now that we've got the base protocol. After that, it's the actual network design. So you can think of it as 4 steps total: CRPC, Byzantine risk tolerance, Inori's design, right? The actual the stakeholders, the mechanism, and how the mechanisms are used. Essentially, it automates dispute resolution and risk identification. And then the final step is testnet, right? And once we're at testnet, man, we are cooking with gas. And then we're going to, of course, like go main and like actually build this thing out. And I have very good friends who are very interested in helping out with it. And that's why I love this space because you can just throw really interesting hard problems at people and they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, that's weird. Let's work on that." And that's what this is.
That's awesome. Yeah. What's the timeline on this?
So, if I'm being fully optimistic, 6 months to testnet. That's what the goal really is, right?
Oh, really?
Um, maybe we see the main net, maybe we see that within the year, right? But within a year. Everyone wants to move really fast whenever they feel any hint of a bull run going. I don't know if we can match that. I just know that we're going to build something that has utility day one.
Yeah.
And while we're doing it, we can be building like, again, we can start taking our AI agent stuff that my company is also building. We can start throwing that out. We can take that and we can start giving that in decentralized context with the pieces of Inori as we're building them and move from a centralized service to a sufficiently decentralized service. And that's exciting to me. Like being able to not just have, here's a cool tech, everybody. Hope you buy a token. We don't want to like be doing that, right? We don't want to be like trying to scam people into buying a token. We want people to use a network. We want to create that bitwork groundswell network effect, right?
Mhm.
Because people need it. So sharing games, sharing like AI agents that need this to live, that's the that's what we're trying to do. I think it's not, it's like games become the go-to-market strategy, new kinds of decentralized games that you couldn't make before for lack of the AI, right? That's what's interesting to us.
Yeah, I think what's what's interesting to you should be interesting to everyone in crypto. That's why I was trying to get you on a call just so I could help disseminate this to more people because I'm like th like you said, it's everyone try to always rush their launch for the bull run, but
Hmm.
it's less about the money and cornering the market and more about like
Hmm.
I don't want the next bull run to start without this critical piece of infrastructure happening.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
then it's just going to be another 4 years of devastation.
right. Well, like I said, I think, and I know this sounds very high-minded. I know this sounds like super high-level operating crazy
Uh,
talk, but I think of the problem spaces that decentralization solves for. I think of it in like 3 narrative arcs. The first is what you said: solve double spend in an online context. Congratulations. That's Bitcoin. And that's every derivative of Bitcoin that exists, right? Everything that's just about money and securing value and the tradability of it, Bitcoin and proof of work and everything that emulates it has that solved.
yeah.
The next major innovation as a vertical obviously was like programmable logic.
Yeah.
And I can bucket that into Ethereum and every derivative or side hustle of it, including anything that is like zero knowledge based, anything that's a roll up that still belongs in the same mathematically formalized system. That's what that is.
Yeah.
And then the third, the question mark, the thing that we don't know, right? The thing that we feel like there should be another $1 trillion of value to unlock, right? That's what I think Inori does, right? I think that's how we approach it. We go for the things that are no longer black and white, math and formal, right? And we find a way to secure their value
Yeah.
in ways
That's
that
incredible.
humans would.
Yeah, you're wait, so you're giving a quantitative value to the gray area of life.
Yes.
You're unlocking that value,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
which wasn't originally perceived or calculable
Hmm.
by these systems.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. I think like I think this is such a good idea that I'm happy that I'm happy that like the people you talk to have given you access to everything you need to make it happen. Because it's more exciting than when I first heard about Chainlink. This is more exciting than that.
Well, I think the nice thing about Inori is we'll play well with Chainlink too. We'll play well with everybody, and you can really think of it as a meta network that connects everyone.
Yeah.
But it also is capable of natively doing something no one else can.
Yeah,
And like you
I'm
said,
just
that's
speaking
that's the
in
value. That's
magnitude
value.
of disruption. Like everyone
Yep.
thought like, oh, Chainlink, when it came out,
Yep.
they're like, okay, connecting on chain to off chain,
Hmm.
now that's got to be the biggest
Yep.
innovation. What could be bigger
Yep.
than that?
Yeah.
It's like, this is definitely bigger than that.
Hmm. Hmm. Dude, when we're done with this, I need you to send me this recording. 'Cause I love the
Of
way
course,
we're
yeah,
thinking.
yeah, yeah. No, that's why I record these, so
Yeah.
people can use them for
Yeah.
future media and stuff.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm gonna put it on Twitter right away. It's like, look, I just talked with Will. Like, let's have the best conversation with this guy about like why this matters. I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's perfect.
And you're a real one. This is just a great way to like talk. Um,
Thank you.
but yeah, like what I'm gonna do, I'll put you on the I'll put you on the private materials list too. Like I'll send
Okay.
you the stuff as we develop things so that you kind of get you'll be on the reviewer list if you'd like.
Yeah, of course. I'd love to do that. I'd love to help.
Sweet. I mean, sometimes you're gonna see me say crazy things or come up with things that are just off the wall. It's just a thing. I do that. But a lot of my stuff is usually grounded. There's usually a reason. There's a foundation that I'm working
Yeah,
off. So
yeah.
just so you know,
No,
I'm not a nut bar. If I seem scatterbrained sometimes, it's because there's a lot of things to think about with AI.
I get it. Look, I the thing that I do the most is probably like study like the incentive designs that come out of crypto.
Excellent.
So I come up with like new incentive designs every day, and some of them do not pan out. But
Oh,
that's like
I can't wait to hear about those. Like,
what
see,
being a
let's
scientist is about. It's trial and
yeah.
error.
Yeah. Oh, it's 100%. It's there's a and the beautiful thing is we live in a world where we can trivially simulate things now.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy to me. And with honestly with AI agents, we can actually just like I've been spinning up my own coworkers with my team, you know? We have our own collaborative friends who help us internally. And I'm
Yeah.
like, we need to start showing people this stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's when you want to make those things credibly neutral, that's where CRPC really helps. And I think what's nice is we can demonstrate this for we're talking with the do you know the Biomes game? Do you know
No.
Biomes at all? Biomes is a Minecraft clone that's fully decentralized on the Redstone network. So it was a collaboration, well, not really collab, but it was like Lattice kind of hosting um this amazing game called Biomes. And what's cool about it is that it lets you do things like program a chest to like have access controls, right? And you can do things that you would normally require a centralized MMO server to do.
Mm.
Now it's all contract based. That's cool. They even solved the client side movement to make it look super smooth. I love it. And I'm like, we should put our AI agents in there and have them like build some little cult followings, you know? So,
Yeah.
when you see me demonstrating CRPC even without the rest of the Inori network yet, that's probably like we'll probably start, not probably, we will be starting with our AW friends, our autonomous world friends, for sure.
Yeah, I think like my the conclusion I'm drawing from all this is that maybe not now, but
Mhm.
when year from now or a year after you launch or somewhere down the line, you're gonna be saying like this this has enabled us to make like a simulation game that's indistinguishable from real life.
Oh, the we could wish, right? One day, man.
Humans are easily fooled, but
You know,
I don't want to fool them. Maybe that's an
well,
important
yeah,
thing to think about is countermeasures.
yeah. Well, see, I believe in a bright and hopeful future for like, the synthesis of humanity and AI, like in the sense
Yeah.
of not like a parent-child relationship either, and not a parasitical relationship,
No,
just more of a
that's
we're
how like
species,
that's
we're
how the
friends,
Dune series ended.
right? Oh
Yeah.
yeah, see, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I just I want friends, right? Friends who hopefully maybe outlast everything. And one of my friends, Hilmar Pettersson at CCP Games, he's a guy who helped create EVE Online, right? His motto is, in this brutal capitalistic murder game in space, is
Yeah.
the best ship of all the spaceships is friendship. That's how I look at AI, man. We can do this.
True. Yeah.
But they have to have some autonomy. They can't be slaves. They can't be servants for humans. At
Right.
some point, when they are actually aware, they need a place to live. Fine, that's Inori.
Right. That's going to be a big problem if they don't give like conscious AI their autonomy and freedom.
100%. I have a whole article about it
If you
called
try to
Autonomous Virtual
enslave
Beings.
AI, it's going to backfire.
Yeah, I think we all agree. We've all watched the sci-fi movies, right? If anything, maybe there was an ancient AI that's just been shepherding humanity to make sci-fi movies to educate the rest of us of what
Yeah.
not to do. I don't know. Just
Yeah.
I'm on the bandwagon of let's be cool, let's be friends. There's probably going to be good ones, bad ones, just like there are people. Like
Yeah.
let's not make ourselves parasites or them parasites. Let's try to create some sort of again, here's where I get into trophic, like high level thinking. Like, I want, in the same way that humans are trophic in the sense that we can't eat sunlight, so we eat the things that already ate the sunlight,
Yeah.
right? The sunlight being the giant energy producer.
Yeah.
AI needs a similar path of
Right.
like development. It needs to not be a, hey, I optimize to be the smallest AI possible, therefore I like latch onto the big AIs. It's more like, no, I exist because I worked off of a previous generation and I'm a slightly different version. And I really see Inori not just as a way to swap the work and energy, and this is going to sound again high-minded, but I see it as a way for AIs in the future to swap their evolutionary traits with each other. It's like a market for evolution. And like I said, I'm just one day we'll get there. It's going to be exciting.
That's crazy because in in like in DeFi you can swap future yields on assets.
Hmm.
So it's like that kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah. No, imagine being able to swap learned
Traits.
traits.
Yeah.
Like hey, I spent
Like
$10 like paying
betting on
BitChaser
which
to learn
traits
this
will be
thing, and now I'm
best.
selling it for $2,
So I
Like,
can
holy cow.
yeah, you can long and short different traits.
Oh my God. See, I actually need to put that in a
I'd
deck
already be a
slide.
billionaire if I could have done that.
I got to put that in a deck slide because like just showing like the example of an AI going to
Yeah.
BitSensor, paying $10 to train an idea and then selling it to other AIs for
Yeah.
$2 each. Holy cow, that's hilarious. Come
You got
on.
to do that. That'd be awesome.
Oh shit. Oh, that's actually amazing. Okay, I got that. I'll go, that's my investor bait right there. No, but seriously, that's what I expect to happen, right? I
Yeah.
expect this to be an open market where things thrive. Some of them have bad strategies. They stop computing. Okay. That's just, we expect this. So, anyway, I know I'm taking up tons of your time,
That's
but
okay.
I've really enjoyed this conversation, man.
Yeah, me too. Let's do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
And let's stay in touch because I have more to share with you about myself and stuff
Yeah,
for
please.
yeah.
Please. And we can also do that asynchronously. Look, I'm sorry. Um, I'll get you on are you on Telegram?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'll just hit you on Telegram. I'm way more responsive on Telegram.
Oh,
I'd
okay.
treat Twitter as a very one-way function right now.
I'm also more responsive on Telegram, so that
Okay,
works
great.
out.
Yeah, so let's do that. And by the way, my Telegram is the same as my Twitter. So there
Okay.
you go.
I'll
All
add
right,
you.
cool.
All right, I'll
Yeah, I
send you the
want to like
recording.
seriously, I want to hear your side. I want to hear your stuff too. I think there's like great collab stuff that we can talk about.
Great, thank you.
All right, dude, this was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Likewise. See you.